some things never go out of style. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 outdated tech items we still use today.
This is a Rolex, but it's kind of black and shiny. You can't go wrong with a Rolex.
For this list, we'll be ranking the most commonly used pieces of old technology that are still popular within a segment of the population. This doesn't necessarily mean that these tech items are used by a majority of people, but rather that their usage and shelf life has endured longer than some may have predicted.
And even Wi-Fi, so you can upload your photos without ever connecting your camera to the computer.
Number 10. AM/FM radios.
Hey, here's something new. A local Erie band's got a new record out. Just won the Mercyhurst Talent Show a couple of weeks ago.
From YouTube to Spotify to satellite radio, there seem to be unlimited methods to check out music these days. Yet many people still listen to classic FM and AM radio stations to get their fix.
Hi mateys, this is KAB Antonio Bay. Stevie Wayne here, beaming a signal across the sea.
Part of what's kept AM/FM radio going for so long is its standard inclusion on the dashboards of the cars we drive. But FM radio sounds so much better than AM. Why is AM still around? Well, AM radio has way better signal range than FM. Of course, some of us only break out our old boomboxes at home in a power failure. But whatever the reason, AM and FM radio waves shouldn't be shutting down anytime soon.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen of Great Britain, Carl has emerged from the Chamber of Love.
Number 9. 3.5mm audio jacks.
And so the best that I can do is pray.
Apple may have dropped the 3.5mm headphone jack for the iPhone 7 in 2016, but this convenient plug-and-play system continues to be popular for devices around the world. The 3.5mm jack actually has a history that dates back to the 19th century. It served as an upgrade from the quarter-inch jacks that were utilized on old telephone switchboards, for example. It's a remarkably reliable and effective system, which sees one of its most popular modern uses in the aforementioned headphone systems on portable music players and mobile phones. Apple might want to switch customers over to Bluetooth and its own Lightning connector system, but for many others around the world, the 3.5mm audio jack is still king.
Excuse me, sir? Excuse me, sir. Do you have an appointment? No, Marty, I'm just swinging through.
Number 8. Retro video game cartridges and consoles.
Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo Entertainment System?
With retro gaming, it doesn't matter if you spent your childhood on an Atari 2600 or an N64. Everything old is new again when it comes to playing a blast from the past. In an era of digitally distributed, always online, early access season pass DLC, breaking out a classic console and popping in a cartridge is therapy for adult gamers. Even kids who weren't alive during the cartridge eras can appreciate the simple gameplay, creative artwork, and clunky controllers that make up such an important part of gaming history.
It may look like a harmless bagel toaster, but inside is a deadly donut.
Even though modern video games have some serious advantages, childhood memories will always be something worth digging out of the closet or picking up at a garage sale.
Hi, Super Nintendo Chalmers!
Number 7. Standard definition televisions.
They're here.
TV technology has come a long way since the days of adjusting rabbit ears to get the best reception. Today's televisions are sleeker, smarter, and display a more defined picture than ever before. So why is it that, as of 2015 at least, roughly 30% of people were still watching their shows on standard def TVs? Well, for some, it might be a matter of money, but others might not feel that high def matters that much, especially if their tastes in entertainment lean towards the classic.
Our first television set. Dad just picked it up today. Do you have a television?
Since many older programs were shot for television's old-school specs and smaller aspect ratio, some consumers may decide to wait it out and see if that high-definition fad just phases itself out. P.S. It probably won't.
It's a whole satellite system, over 600 channels.
Number 6. Digital cameras.
You don't just go to a party anymore. You go to a party with a digital camera and then your friends relive the party online.
These days, just about everyone carries a pretty powerful camera around in their pocket at all times. This is great news for the average shutterbug. It's now a breeze to take simple shots on the go.
It all starts with point-and-shoot cameras. These are slim, basic cameras that shoot better than a smartphone but can still fit in your pocket.
Professional photographers or those with a serious passion for creativity, however, may want to keep using a separate digital or film camera for their needs. Data from Japan's Camera and Imaging Products Association revealed in 2015 that camera sales had actually stabilized after an initial free fall from competing smartphones. So maybe folks out there will continue to give their cameras some love in the years to come.
Smile. You're on candid camera.
Number 5. Fax machines.
Doug is like a fax machine, okay? You keep putting things in, but if you don't have a cover page, people don't know where it's coming from.
One very simple reason why the fax machine continues to thrive is the business world. Some companies quite literally could not survive without one.
The photo goes round and round, whoa, whoa, and it comes out here.
Sure, you may be thinking, but we live in the age of email, digital signing, and cloud storage. Surely sending a fax is obsolete. But everyone from small-town businesses to multinational corporations continues to use this technology in their daily routines, especially in places where internet service is spotty at best or when higher levels of privacy are desired.
Please, no, I cannot be fired. I'm fired.
Or sometimes, a physical document is needed where an email attachment just won't do.
There's a sensor that reads a line at a time at the sending end and a printer that prints out a line at a time at the receiving end.
That's when the fax machine comes into play, transmitting these documents and keeping businesses running smoothly around the world.
See what I'm doing to this machine?
Jamie, don't.
This machine?
Jesus Christ!
Number 4. Landline telephones.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You probably don't need us to tell you this, but age and income affect landline phone use. In fact, in 2014, Time magazine reported that the majority of people over 65 retained their landline phones, while young adults were much more likely to use their cell as a primary phone.
You used to call me on my cell phone, late night when you need my love.
Additionally, those who were living at or below the poverty line were less likely to keep 2 separate phone lines to keep costs low.
Listen to me. We've traced the call. It's coming from inside the house.
Beyond these numbers, however, there are some benefits to landline phones that make them attractive options. There are no contracts, they're reliable, and call quality is great. Plus, like that trusty old payphone, they're nice to have in case of an emergency.
Are you guys having as much fun as I'm having right now? This landline has really brought us together in a great way.
Number 3. Wristwatches.
The Timex quartz. We made a better Timex.
Smartphones have replaced more than just the digital camera. They also act as our go-to when we need to know what time it is.
Kind of a jerk, aren't you? It means the NSA can read the time off your f***ing wristwatch.
So why haven't wristwatches gone the way of the dodo? Perhaps it's because the watch is a status symbol, an image of prosperity and success that projects a certain impression to the world? Or maybe it's because you think of a watch as a fashion accessory rather than a tool to tell the time.
I've always felt like you can learn a lot about a man if he opens up his jewelry box. Might be chokers, tiaras, little ringlets. In my case, it's largely watches.
Or maybe it's a more utilitarian reason, like you scuba dive and need to tell the time while underwater. Whatever your reason for wearing one, the wristwatch is still a ubiquitous accessory, whether or not you actually use it to tell time.
This watch was on your daddy's wrist when he was shot down over Hanoi.
Number 2. Vinyl records.
Looks as if you're reorganizing your records.
Yeah.
What is this, chronological?
The vinyl revolution has been in full swing for years now, with many bands and record labels catering to vinyl fans with pressings of albums both new and old. Nowadays, major retail outlets like FYE and Barnes & Noble stock vinyl records in their stores, while record conventions and online trading sites like Discogs have continued to represent vinyl as one of the most enduring forms of physical media. After all, the record's ancestors were invented in the 19th century.
This is one of those albums that we call a fully writable album. A fully writable album is a kind of album you could listen to if you're driving from LA to San Francisco, which is like a 5-hour drive. And you can just keep it on repeat, you don't gotta skip. This is fully writable.
So why do we continue to love vinyl? It's bulky and scratches easily.
What was that? I think it was Blue Monday.
compared to its original pressing?
Well, some point to the medium's warm sound when playing back albums recorded in analog, while others love the LP's place as a canvas for album art. Before we unveil our top piece of outdated tech that's still in use, here are some honorable mentions.
Sorry. On their way to packaging, the bulbs undergo what's called flash testing. Repeated light-ups using a higher voltage each time.
Number 1. CDs and DVDs.
The biggest revolution in the recording industry since the invention of the long-playing gramophone record, but this is no ordinary disc.
The longevity of CDs and DVDs proves there's a segment of the population that just likes to hold things in their hands. CDs rose to prominence in the 1980s, while DVDs were adopted a bit later. But once they hit the market, they were the preferred method of consuming media.
I found these affordable DVD players that I'm going to recommend to my customers.
When Blu-rays made their debut in the early 21st century, people were still getting used to DVDs and had brand new DVD players that would have gathered dust had they made the switch right away. So today, people have movie and music collections across many forms of media. Besides, you can't fill a room with a carefully curated collection of digital media files now, can you?
Is this your CD collection? Yes. Oh my.
Do you agree with our list? Which outdated tech items do you still use?
Call me on my cell phone.
For more savvy top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.